at a different place and hold my computer up. And I've got a battery that doesn't last very long. So this is going to be a limited show, everyone. I'm sorry to hear that. So we're going to get started with this. We're going to get started with talking about our favorite game shows, our favorite game shows. So please let me know what your favorite game show was growing up and some of the stories that you have. So I want to talk about mine first of all. So first of all, let me just say that game shows were a big deal to me, both after school and both at night, or not after school, but like if I was sick and I stayed home from school, there were certain game shows that I was able to watch, which I wasn't able to watch if I was at school. Namely, which was The Price is Right. And The Price is Right was, I can't hear Thrash Pondo. So The Price is Right was one of my favorite shows. But I also remember, and I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember that Wheel of Fortune was on during the day before it was had its chance on Jeopardy? Um, I don't know if you remember that or not, but I totally remember that. Um, and one of the things, my favorite was, what we got here? My favorite was The Gong Show. And Tracy Rothmeyers writes, Hiya, Thrasher and ENC. Uh, Thrash, I can hear you. But apparently Thrash can't hear me. So I have no idea what the heck is going on with the audio tonight because Thrash can't hear me. And you couldn't hear me at first, but now I guess you can hear me. So this is kind of weird stuff. Don't know what to do about it exactly. So let's see. Anything else I loved? Let's see. I love TRIP. I've never heard of TRIP in my life. Um, and let's gonna try to bring Thrash back on. Can you hear me yet, Thrash? Because I can hear you. Like I can hear you breathing. Somebody tell Thrash Pondo we can hear him, but we can't see him. Or we can see him and hear him, but he can't hear me for some reason. I don't know. Maybe this is a StreamYard issue. That's kind of weird. And love the Gong Show. Yeah, the Gong Show was hilarious.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Boom.
I could hear. We could hear you the whole time, actually.
You're kidding.
No, I could hear you. You just couldn't hear me. But
Wow, that's
what's
crazy. Mhm,
but what's crazy is
mhm.
they couldn't hear me. They couldn't hear me. Like so it was so weird. They couldn't hear me. And I had to switch computers and
That's
switch
strange.
headsets
Well, it's
and
funny because
everything.
when I came back out, I was readjusting my settings and I only just got volume again. But it's funny, the mic was still working. So I guess I did get a good mic after all that.
Yeah, after all that you got a good mic. But let's see here. Oh, Tracy writes. Where did she write there? I saw one of the things that she writes.
Tracy, how you doing? Tracy, and Whammy too. Ah, yes, the whammies.
I think do you mean Pressure Luck?
Hmm.
Because I think that was the name of the show, Pressure Luck. And I remember that show quite a bit. Now, did you hear about the guy on Pressure Luck who figured out how to win Pressure Luck?
I did hear about
Yeah,
that. And the whammy always came after the yellow screen, so he
yeah,
wouldn't. Yeah, he'd wait until one more after that, and never got the whammy.
yeah, right. Yeah, he watched it, and I heard he won something like 250,000, and he just eventually quit. Like instead of hang on a second. Instead of like just getting kicked off the show, he just decided to stop doing it. Do you
Oh,
think that's cheating?
It's not cheating if you see a pattern. If he was manipulating the pattern, like if you went in and hacked their system and made it so that he could always win or knew when the wins were coming up, but he just happened to notice an overall, uh, again, a pattern that if you do this, if you avoid that, you'll always win. And
Yeah.
so I wouldn't. It's a little unethical, but I wouldn't call it cheating.
I wouldn't call it cheating either. Ooh, this is gonna turn off if I do that. Uh, Boy, we're gonna have all kinds of technical problems tonight. Hang on one
Hey,
second.
it's all part of the fun.
Yeah,
The
it
hoops we
is.
jump through for you people. Always remember, we can't give enough effort for you guys. Um,
Yeah, this is. Oh, go ahead.
are you getting a little feedback from me? I hear a little echo on my voice. Is that from your system or mine? I can't quite
No,
tell. No. Well, as long as you
no.
don't hear it, I'm fine.
Let's see.
Oh, Daryl Johnson, Junior Darth Vader.
Uh, I think it's because when you're not talking, we can hear you breathing through your nose pretty good.
Oh, I got it. I'll try to do this without breathing. Lance Choffin, $110,000. His name was Michael.
His name. Oh yeah, $110,000. His name was Michael. That is nutty. $110,000. I think that's something like half a million today or something like that, as I recall. Um, well, what were some of your favorite game shows when you were growing up?
I always had a thing for Match Game. In fact, I'm certain you may have just seen Dave's recent post on Gene Rayburn. He, as you probably know, he retired to Cape Cod, and my grandmother bumped into him once in a CVS, and he was gracious enough to chat with her for a moment. And she told this story as though they were in the war together. She loved Gene Rayburn. She loved Match Game. I used to watch it with her. Match Game was a great game show. I also loved. How could you not? Hollywood Squares.
Oh yeah,
It was just the celebrities were always so funny, on point. You know, the
always
questions were,
witty.
yeah, very much so. Particularly Paul Lind and some of the other guests as well. It was a great show. In fact, I don't know if you remember this. They still show this on the Game Show Network. There was an incarnation where they blended Match Game and Hollywood Squares. John Bowser Bowman from Shauna Na hosted the Hollywood Squares part, and Gene Rayburn did Match Game. And it wasn't quite as good as the Peter Marshall Hollywood Squares, but it was a lot of fun.
Hmm. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't ever really watch Match Game too much. What was the premise of that game?
It was a panel. What would happen is Gene Rayburn, the host, he would read a silly question. They actually do a joke about it on Family Guy not long ago. It would be something like, Forgetful Freddy was so forgetful, and the audience would burst out, how forgetful was he? Forgetful Freddy was so forgetful, every time you asked him a question, he'd draw a blank. And you'd have to fill in the blank with a humorous answer.
Oh, I
And
see.
the
Well,
panel like,
how did they win?
well, what happened is the contestant, there'd be two contestants. The contestant would give what they thought the good answer would be, and they'd go to the panel of 6 people. And the more matches you got, the more points you got. And whoever had the most matches with 2 questions went on to the next level.
Right.
And there was usually some type of off-color response, like involving bathroom humor or something. But whoever could, and Richard Dawson, who later went on to do Family Feud, he was one of the panelists on it, and he had a way of just sort of getting into the heads of the other contestants, and he could match them, 9 times out of 10.
Right.
And if you won, they'd like give you a series of questions. It would be blank stop, and you'd be like, okay, full stop, sudden stop, can't stop, and the more people who give the same response you gave, the more money you would get, and then you'd go head to head. So it was a whole system, but it was very amusing.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
And just while we're on the subject, I even like the new incarnation of Family Feud. The
Oh
one with
yeah,
Steve
the Steve
Harvey. I,
Harvey.
I think
Steve
it's
Harvey
actually
one's
very
great.
amusing. So yeah.
We watch it quite a bit. That Family Feud is another really good one. I'm gonna get a couple of these.
Oh, John
Uh,
Collins. How are
John
you doing in
Collins,
the
by the
flesh?
way, I want to give a shout out. John Collins is a Cornflake Club member. Cornflake Club member John Collins.
I'm a frosted flake. Oh, and we're doing just fine, John. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, thank you, John. Other than these technical difficulties we've both experienced right now, I'm doing okay now. And Tracy Rothmeyer's
Ah,
right.
Tracy. To the price is right. Did I?
Yes,
Did I? Yes, the
I
price is
think
right.
I think the T equals the and P
Mhm.
equals price and I equals is and
Well, I think the price is.
earlier I remember she this is a comment earlier. She just did
Oh,
the
she did
first
the
letters.
abbreviations.
Yeah, the Price is Right. And I was just like, boy, I've never heard of that show. The Price is Right. Of course I've heard of Price is Right. Yes.
Come on down.
Yeah, come on down. There was a guy on that show too that kind of put the cards in his favor. Do you remember that guy? He would show up there every
No,
day, and sometimes he'd get called, and he would shout the exact price.
really.
He would do all this research, and he would shout the exact price on washers and dryers. And they did it so much that they had to actually change the format because so they had to say like they would give a car, and instead of just saying the car and the model, they would say, and this one's equipped with a like a 5 speed or automatic lights or something like that. So the guy couldn't know exactly the price, but people were listening to him. So I really like that. One of the things I wanted to say though, before we go on, I was talking about that earlier over there but I was losing my train of thought because of all the movement and everything that was going on. Was the I remember the Wheel of Fortune when it was on during the day. And do you remember when it was on during the day and they would move the camera so you didn't win money, you won stuff. And they would move the camera around on this room full of stuff, and the people would go, "Oh, I want the dresser, I want the pool table, I want the, whatever it was." And
And it
then they
was always
changed
from
that.
from Saks Fifth Avenue or some really fancy pantsy boutique. And then at the end they'd have to get a gift certificate because it was never quite the exact amount.
Yeah, and they would
But yeah,
say,
it
and
was
then
it was yeah, I remember that. My grandmother used to watch that show as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one that was on during the day before they moved it to I think before Jeopardy. But also Tracy Rothmeyers writes, whoops, sorry.
Oh, the $25,000 pyramid. Did
L-
did
loved
did
loved that show. Loved the $25,000 pyramid. One of the things I loved about the $25,000 pyramid is they did a parody of the $25,000 pyramid on Saturday Night Live with Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks played a recurring character called Mr. Forgetful or something like that, or Mr. Short-Term Memory, and it was a hilarious um, uh, uh, it was a hilarious character that he did where he would literally forget things like so, and it had the guy, I forgot what his name is, but he was in The Odd Couple, the television show The Odd Couple.
well, one
Tony
of
Tony
two. Tony
Randall.
Randall.
Tony Randall, and he was playing against Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks was playing this character, and and Tom Hanks had socks. You go through the thing, and then he's all, okay, you put these on your feet, you wear them on your feet, and then Tony Randall would go, socks, and he'd go, yes, and then he'd look at it again and go, you put these on your feet, and it's over and over again. It was so funny. Yeah, that was a funny character, the Mr. Short-Term Memory. Unfortunately, that's actually a real thing, but where people only have like a day memory or something like that. There's a whole movie based on that with Drew Barrymore called
Fifth
51st.
First
Yeah,
Date with Adam
uh,
Sandler. Yes.
yeah. And while that movie's great, it's a real condition.
There was a thriller too, Memento, I want to say, about a guy
Yeah,
he is trying to find the murder of his wife, but he has no
yeah.
memory. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has to keep writing things down or writing it on his.
Exactly.
I did you watch that? That was a Christopher Nolan movie.
I can't remember.
Oh, you're hilarious. You're hilarious.
I do
You didn't
try. I do
you
try.
didn't write it down somewhere.
No. Ah, Daryl Johnson, Newlywed Game.
Newlywed Game, one of my favorites. I mean, literally, one of my favorite shows, the Newlywed Game. Loved it. Loved it. Did you watch it?
Of course. Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, Newlywed Game. Um, did you ever watch Three's a Crowd? The game Three's a Crowd.
No.
Oh man,
No.
this show was responsible for more divorces, I think, than
Really?
it. Yeah, it was a show kind of like the Newlywed Game show,
Uh-huh.
but and I don't know how long it was on. I think it was only on for like a little while, but basically, it was a guy and his wife and his secretary, and they had to figure. They would do. It was kind of like the Newlywed Game, but it was like who knew him better, like who knew the husband better, and it was just a train wreck of a show. It's just a train wreck of a show. Let's see if we got
Well,
any.
how about that show where they gave you like a lie detector test? And it was, have you cheated on your wife? Have you embezzled funds from your boss? And do you remember that? I forget what it was called, but
No, I
they would hook
don't.
people up and ask them really embarrassing questions. They had one. She was a newlywed. Speaking of newlyweds, she was a newlywed, and they brought her ex boyfriend out and asked her to her face, "Would you leave your husband for me?"
Oh,
And
really?
she
Oh no,
said,
I do remember this.
and
Yes.
she said no, and it was turned out she was lying.
Yeah, yeah,
There were like a half a dozen marriages were destroyed by this show.
yeah. I do remember this. I do
I don't
remember
know why I'm
this.
laughing. It's so sick.
It is sick. It
I
is
don't know why I'm
sad.
laughing.
And
I'm a
then
horrible
and
person.
lie detector tests aren't even reliable anyway. You know what I
No,
mean?
no,
They're
because if you get nervous, you'll give a false response, even if you're telling the
yeah.
truth, because
And
you're
people who
nervous.
lie, people who are like
Hannibal
uh
Lecter.
yeah, people who are sociopaths or psychopaths or whatever can lie and it won't show that it's anyway, that's why it's not admissible in court, by the way.
But
All
for
right.
cheap prizes in a game show, yes.
Right.
Let's see another
And
question.
yeah, well,
Tracer
another
Roth Myers.
comment.
Showcase filled with glamorous prizes.
That's the one that you remember too, the
Mhm.
showcase filled with glamorous
I was
prizes,
trying
and
to
they'd
say it in
go
my game show
around.
host voice. This is
And
glamorous prizes.
I never understood, so I watched it as a kid, and
Mhm.
they would always have like some type of gaming system in there, like
Uh-huh.
or even like the not the pool table, not ping pong. What's it called?
Air hockey.
Deaf, dumb, blind kid, pinball. They'd always have like a pinball game in there or something, or air hockey or something. And all these, grown-ups were all ordering, they were all like the couch and all that stuff. And I'm like, what are you nuts? There's a pinball machine right there. Why aren't you ordering the pinball machine? Or they'd have like an Atari system or something. I'm like, are you crazy? Why not the Atari system or the pool table at least? I didn't understand grown-ups at that age. You know what? I'd probably still get the pinball machine, quite honestly.
For my garage. I would get a pinball machine for my garage, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, or a
The
pool
bridge.
table or something like that.
Daryl Johnson. Dating game.
Oh, the dating game.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I love that. That was a good one too. I thought it was great. It was very funny. All the
Oh, it was
questions that they
hysterical.
answer.
And
I,
the funny thing, you know how many celebrities before they made it big were actually on that show? Don
yeah,
Johnson was on that show. Carl Weathers was on that show. A couple others.
I think Steve Martin was on that show too.
That sounds right. Before he went gray. I think you're right.
Yeah,
And at least
uh,
one serial killer, too. But they're not
yeah.
celebrities.
Ted Bundy, wasn't it?
Not
Or
Ted Bundy. I forget the name. I
oh,
might know it if I heard it, but it wasn't Ted
was it
Bundy. It was
was it the
he,
Night Stalker?
no. They actually That was I just saw a documentary on him too. My wife's into all these killers. Um, but no, it wasn't the Night Stalker. I forget his name, but yeah, there was an actual serial killer. Don't worry, it'll end up in the comments any second now. I promise you.
Right,
Someone out
right.
there knows it, but yeah.
You know it out there. I always, did you ever do the thing where you put yourself in the position of the person being asked, where you're like, well, how would I respond?
All the
How
time.
would I? Yeah, you'd be like,
All the time.
ah,
I do that with all game shows.
yeah. Well, there's not a game show out there that makes me feel any more stupid than Jeopardy. I mean, Jeopardy makes me feel horribly dumb.
I
Not
do
not
pretty
so
well.
much now, but when I was a kid,
Well,
and
yeah,
even as a young adult, I wasn't that good. Today, I do okay. You do good on Jeopardy?
yeah. We used to watch it at my old fraternity house when I was in college, so I got pretty lethal. Particularly if it's questions I'm really good at, like if it's World War II trivia or geography or old movies, something I can sink my teeth into. I'm usually pretty good.
Cool,
Mm.
cool.
But yeah, I
I
do I
like.
do okay in Jeopardy.
I
And
do good at. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if I ever told you this. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I will. I was a lifeline for somebody on Millionaire once.
Oh, you were.
Hmm.
Wow. Did you get
Uh
called? Did you get
no.
called or no?
It's a really terrible story. When he actually apparently, and I didn't know this, that phone a friend, you give them two. So when you say phone a friend, because that's how they say, well, what friend are you calling? It's because you get to pick which one you want. It was me, and this other guy was a retired Harvard professor. So I had a pretty
Oh,
safe idea who he would have called. But he got up to about $60,000. They asked him what he thought was a cakewalk question. He gave the answer, and he got it wrong. So
he
he
blew it.
washed out
Yeah,
like really early on, so he actually never got a chance to use any of his lifelines. It was a really sad story. But
yeah.
this guy kind of had hubris. This guy, he was very intelligent, but he thought he was more intelligent than he was. But I was a lifeline for a millionaire. That's one of
That's
my
really cool.
feathers in the cap, as they say.
We do really good on cash cab. That's kind of the level I'm at. I'm a good cash cab. Jeopardy's a little too intellect. It depends. If they start doing Bible questions, I'm nailing it, man. I'm
Oh,
boom, boom,
I can
boom,
see you.
boom.
You mop
I
it up.
I mean, yeah, but they don't do that too often. Some history questions, but
Which testament are you more adept at, old or new?
both. I
I'm
did.
sure you were. I'm sure you
I
were.
I I it goes in and out for me. But back when the internet was a new thing, they had these chat rooms, but they had like where you could play games on these chat rooms, and one of them was a Bible quiz game. They had a Bible quiz room or whatever where they do Bible quizzes and you type your answer in and stuff like that. And I swept up. I swept up with like people all around the world. Of course, there's no cash
Wow.
prize for it, but I swept up. The other thing is I get these books on Bible trivia, and like I mean I just I don't mean to. I'm not trying to brag. I'm really not, but I do clean house on it. Sometimes when you get into like the difference between Elijah and Elijah. Did Elijah do this miracle or Elisha? Like I kind of lose it.
I
When
can
he said,
I can forgive you for that.
but other
Because
than that, I'm like, oh, I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I don't know. I'm
I
just kidding
confuse
on.
cherubim and seraphim, so we all have our demons. I'm sorry, that was
Those
terrible.
aren't
I'm kidding. I'm
demons,
kidding.
though. Those
That's what
are.
that was a joke. I'm sorry.
I gotcha. All right, we got to get back on it
John
here.
Collins. Thrash Pondo, do you have an email address where fans can email you or Twitter? We do. I'll give it to you um later. But yes, I do. Thank you very much for asking.
Okay, you can give it. I have his. Can I just forward it to him?
Oh
Because if you
yes,
don't want
yes,
it
that'd be very
public,
yes. John, Ian will forward you my email address. Looking forward to hearing from you.
for sure.
Superplex. Bob Barker will live forever, just to save your pets. Remember, spade and neuter them in that order.
Was that was that his deal in that order?
Every show he'd be like, and remember, friends, please spay or neuter your pets.
I watch that show all the time. I don't remember that. That's crazy.
You
I
probably
got it,
blocked it out.
maybe. Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, maybe I was turning it off by the end of the show. Whatever.
Lance Jeffin, name
Yep.
that tune. I can name that tune in 4 notes.
Yeah, Name That Tune was good. I mean, it was kind of a little bit before my time, I think. But uh I'm personally, pretty good at naming music if I've heard it before, obviously. But if it's something and they always had stuff on there when I watched the old ones of a bunch of songs that I've never heard before. Literally never heard. But if there's a song on the TV, I'm like, oh, that's that band, and then I'll rattle off that band or whatever. So if they did it today, I'd probably do pretty good. But back then, like the B side of Herman's Hermits and stuff like that. Like I just, it's just not
Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. Oh,
right.
I better not. I better. Funny story. My father, in his earlier days, used to have to travel a lot for work. And of course, back then, you didn't have CDs, you listened to the radio. So anytime you're on a road trip with him, a song would come up and he'd be, name that tune. And I'd be like, and I got actually pretty good. I could usually name the song, provided I've heard it, the song, the artist, and if I'm having a good day, the year it came out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's just
We
from
have
playing with my
a
father for years.
we have a running. I have a running bet with people at work. I will bet them a dime. I'll bet them a dime for a dollar. So I will no, or no, a dime for a quarter. That's it. If I can't name the band that's on the radio. So if it's on the radio and they're playing a song and they ask me, if they ask me, hey, can you name that band? Now, obviously, we can't do the name the tune, and then we have an additional thing going on too. Every fact about the song that I know, they have to give me an additional dime. So
Oh,
I'll lay my quarter down, and
uh-huh.
then they'll lay their dime down. If they say, okay, can you name that tune? I'll lay my quarter down. I'm like, all right, a quarter for a dime. This is easy money for you, if you get it. And I normally know most most modern music. I know quite a bit
You know
about.
a lot about music, and it's funny how many stories there are behind these songs. So if you could throw out additional facts, you could
Yep.
clean up on just a couple of songs. I can
It's my
see that.
superpower. I don't know why. I don't know. I really, literally, like, seriously, like little factoids like that. I just know, especially when it comes to pop trivia. Like, I don't know why I know them. I don't know why it sticks in my head. Like, the doctor will name some type of thing, and I can't remember the name of it, but for some reason, I know that Shannon Doherty has Crohn's disease. I don't know. I don't know why I know that, but I heard it somewhere and it never goes out of my head. All
I can
right,
see
let's
that.
see. Let's see here.
Daryl Johnson, Jeopardy.
Yes, I think we already kind of covered
Yeah,
that, but I
cover that.
wanted to give you a shout out.
I lost
Uh,
on Jeopardy,
yeah.
baby.
Did you
Weird
see the
Al.
Yeah, did you see the old emanation? I never watched the old emanation of Jeopardy. I only watched the Alex Trebek years.
I did
Or
watch the old one, but I was certainly a huge fan of Trebek. But I do remember Art Fleming was
Art
the original
Fleming.
I want to say. I was a kid. We're going back to middle school at this point, but yes, I
Right.
believe it was Art Fleming.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of the new ones with Geordi. I don't know what his real name is, but Geordi from Star Trek. And
LeVar Burton,
yeah, and Mia,
Baliak. I always
Blossom.
get her name wrong.
I
Yeah,
know,
from
Blossom.
Big Bang Theory, Blossom and Big Bang Theory. Yes,
Oh, look at this
Andre
one.
Thorpe Myers. I loved Rock and Roll Jeopardy.
I loved Rock and Roll Jeopardy too. I remember that. That was a good one. Was that on VH1?
Perhaps, perhaps
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Perhaps I
You know,
remember it, but go ahead.
You know what? There was a really good show out there, and I think I've mentioned it on this show before, but it was a game show, and it only had 2 seasons. And the first season was fantastic, and the second season they kind of changed the host, and it sucked. And it was called Beat the Geeks. Did you ever watch that?
I lived for that show to come on.
That
Yes.
I know, it was so good. It was so good. I don't know if there's any copies on YouTube or not, but
There
I
there
haven't
were a
looked at
few bits here and there, no full
that.
episodes, at least last time I looked. But it was everything. It was the music geek, the movie geek, and the TV geek. And
And then,
then every week they'd have a guest geek.
yep, yeah. What were you best at?
Movie.
Oh, were you? Oh,
Movies. Yes.
yeah,
But I was pretty darn good at TV and music. And
yeah.
usually the guest geek was something you really sink your teeth into, like the Star Wars geek.
Right.
Or,
Or the
yeah.
Friends geek, or
Or, it was something specific. So if you knew the topic, you're like, okay, I can get into this.
the Star
Gods.
Trek, the Star Trek geek. They had one time on there
I
too.
think there was a Godzilla geek, or at least Japanese movie geek, or
Ah,
but yeah, but
do
I
you
did I
remember
did
both? Do you remember both seasons?
well. They kind of blended together, so I'm not sure which was from season one and which was from season two. How did season two differ from season one? That might help me out here.
They had a different host. I forgot the host of season
Oh.
one, but he was a guy with glasses, really cool guy, kind of that hipster geek kind of person. And
Mhm.
then the second guy they got was this guy with kind of black hair, and he came out, hey, no, and he came seriously. He's like, you can't handle these geeks. And the first guy was like, I mean, he was fine. I
Uh-huh.
don't know why they changed it, but the second guy was he had this long stringy black, well, not long, but like about this long, you know what I mean,
Uh-huh.
in front of his eyes, and he was just kind of over the, like, unnecessarily over the top,
So,
and I'm just like, this is awful. I like the guy before him. So, all right, let's go on here.
Lynn's Jaffin, win, lose, or draw.
Love that one too. That was a daytime one. That was when you missed school, or was it
But
or was it after school? I don't remember.
well, I think I was in college, so I used to just ditch class and watch it. I never went to class when I was in college. It just cuts into your day. My big problem with win, lose, or draw is I had the artistic skills of someone with no artistic skills. I couldn't draw a straight line with a ruler and a laser, so I couldn't. That game was like outside my skill set.
Right. Yeah, that I'm the same way. I also can't draw. I can't I joke sometimes that I can't trace a straight line. So, it's
I can't trace.
yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. Um Not my
Mm.
gift, not my gift, but I did like, I don't know. I did like win, lose, or draw. It was a fun show.
Oh, I liked watching it. I just couldn't play it. Like whenever they had the home game, I'm like, I'm gonna bow out of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the home game one time and I messed up because I said the name of I'll still remember this. I looked at the card and I go, candle. I started to draw it and I just said it out loud like some kind of moron. I'm like, and they're like, is it candle? And before I even started, I'm like, man, I'm killing it. You know, I don't draw well, but man, can I draw a candle?
The
And
one
they
time you could have drawn it, you blew it because you gave it
I
away.
know they
That's something I would have done. I can see myself doing that.
I talk, I don't have a condition or anything like that, but I have like this stream of consciousness running through my brain, and every once in a while I say what's on my mind, like just out of the blue. And I think it comes from being a kind of raised an only child or whatever. You know what I mean? You kind of grow up talking to yourself and having fake friends and stuff like that. So and it just has never completely left me. I'll just sit there and daydream and say stuff. So I don't know. I was just sitting there looking at the card. It was my turn to get up and do the drawing. I'm like, candle. Okay. I go over and draw it. It was crazy.
They say talking to yourself is a sign of high intelligence. I always say talking to yourself is fine. It's when you get answers back that's when you have to start to worry.
I
Superplex.
get answers back too. From myself, though. I'm not hearing voices or whatever.
From yourself, that's okay. We'll accept that.
All right.
Celebrity Jeopardy is always funny. Yes, it is.
That's one I can win at. That's one I do well. Celebrity
Tre-
Jeopardy, Kid
Trebek,
Jeopardy.
Trebek, you
Yeah.
pansy.
And then, they were going to say this. We got a couple of wife, husband. Oh yeah, this is a comment from earlier.
Wife, husband, and secretary. Was that the name of the show, or was the premise of the show?
I think the show is called Three's a Crowd, but I could be wrong. I mean, I just remember it that way. And John Collins writes,
Win, lose, or draw is so awesome.
Cornflake Club member John Collins.
Devil Johnson, SNL Jeopardy. Oh yes,
Yeah.
Minnie Driver. She has to write down a letter, and she draws a picture of an eye. Well, eye's a letter.
Well, that's they had I think Will Ferrell was
Will
the
Ferrell played we were just talking about him, Alex Trebek, and of course
yeah.
they always had Sean Connery. I'll take swords for 1,000. No, that's S words. I can read Trebek. I'll take swords for 1,000.
You're nailing it. You're nailing it.
Thank you. I thought that was pretty weak actually, but thank you.
We'll take Schwartz for 1,000, something like that. I don't know.
And then the answer is
Uh,
scimitar, so it's a sword.
yeah.
Uh,
Let's see here.
my time has come.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh,
Oh.
let's.
That sounds like an MTV game show. I'm
I'm not.
assuming he's referring to the musical Rock and Roll Jeopardy.
Oh
Maybe.
yeah, it
So
might
you know
have
what,
been.
Superplex. It may have been on MTV now that you mentioned it. Lance Chaffin, Lingo Chain Reaction.
I think Lingo's one, and then Chain Reaction's another game.
So did
So,
I. As when I read it out loud, I'm like, hey, wait a second, but I wanted to play it off because
well,
I
I
read
want
it
to
with such.
talk about Lingo and well, first of all, I just want to say hi to Danny Staten. Danny, you're
Danny, how
awesome.
you doing? Good to see
You're
you.
gonna catch Bigfoot one of these days. I'm sorry, I'm on during wrestling. It's just that Monday night kind of fell into my lap, and we're not really changing it at this point. But we might.
It's a
I don't
it's a
know.
it's a bear
It's
we got to
what?
cross.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But speaking of MTV games, remember the game with Colin Quinn,
Remote control.
remote control, remote
hmm
control,
hmm
and was it Bobby Brown? Was that her name? Bobby Brown? Bonnie
As
Brown?
well,
This is a redhead girl with the curly hair, and then the host name was Kevin something.
Ken Ober, who was I believe from Boston. He died recently. Actually, he was living I want to say on Martha's Vineyard, and he died. Um,
Oh,
Colin Quinn was one of the talents, and a very young Adam Sandler
yeah.
was on it
Adam
as well.
Sandler was on there. He played a character on there that would come out and read questions.
But there were actually, if I remember correctly, it had 3 seasons, and each one had a different female
Yeah,
participant. So I'm trying to
maybe.
remember the redhead
It was the
one.
first one. It was the first season. I know that for sure.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
trying to place her. I can't place her to save my life.
I thought her name was Bobby Brown because I remember that it was like the other Bobby Brown. Um, so anyway, I just remember it being like somebody else's name or
Molly Brown, maybe. Could it be
maybe.
Molly Brown? Because there was a redhead singer and comedian back in the '80s called Molly Brown. She did Julie Brown. I'm sorry,
Oh
Julie
no,
Brown. No, it
it
wasn't Julie
wasn't
Brown.
Julie Brown. No,
Okay,
I know Julie Brown. Yeah, so it was
okay.
not her. There were two Julie Browns too.
The other one was black,
Yep.
so you can tell them
Downtown
apart.
Julie Brown, and then Julie
Miss
Brown,
Julie Brown,
Miss Julie Brown.
who was on Just Say
Um,
Julie.
yeah, Julie Brown was funny. I liked her a lot.
Right. I
Let's
have one
see.
of her albums.
Oh, do you?
Mhm.
Cool. Um, uh, uh, I remember on remote control one time that that the actual host got the answer wrong, and I don't know if he just misread it or it was wrong on his card, but they played a video of Motley Crue and they said name three of these four people, and I knew all of them: Tommy Lee, Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, and Mick Mars. I mean, I know them all. They're treasured back then at that time, 1988 or whatever, 86, somewhere around there. And I remember the host said Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, Tommy Lee, and Mark Mars. And I wanted to call, you couldn't email people back then. And I wasn't going to write a letter, but I'm like, oh, he's wrong. It's not Mark Mars. It's Mick Mars. But he might have misread it or something like that. It
Mispronounced it.
might
Yeah.
have been. Might have been right on his little card, but it was wrong on the paper. All
But
right, let's
rock
get back.
on. Rock
Yeah,
on.
let's get back to this
Uh,
lingo chain reaction. Are those more newer shows?
um,
Oh, I think
uh,
you froze.
I did freeze, but I'm. Should I just stay with still shot for?
Just stay. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
just
well,
do
let's
that.
not mess with it. I'm getting a new phone tomorrow, so we won't have to worry about this. So from now on, I'll just be still shot. Um, I I believe wasn't Chain Reaction specifically on one of those game show networks?
Yeah, the Game Show Network, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
far as lingo goes, I'm not 100%.
yeah. And
And Rothmeyer's Atari
well, that's kind of a home game system. Maybe she was talking earlier about what I said about
winning
getting
something. Yeah.
winning something. Let's see here. Somebody said something nice about
Superplex. T-Pons, you have a game show voice. Well, thank you, Superplex. I do try.
I'm sure you've probably heard that before.
I have, and in fact, I'll share something with you folks. When I was very young, I had a modest speech impediment.
Oh, really?
And yeah, it was kind of embarrassing when I was a kid. Went to great lengths to get rid of it. And one of the things I found as I got older was if I talked like a DJ or a game show host where I inflect and put extra effort onto the syllables, I found it went away. So sometimes, particularly when I'm trying to sound official,
Yeah.
you'll hear me go into that DJ voice. Like
Oh,
there's still some words I can't say, like Christmas tree. Oh, I just did. For some reason, I'm like, but you'll see me. I'll
that
actually
sounded
concentrate a
just
little bit.
that sounded like Christmas tree to me.
Well,
When
thank you. I practice. I practice a lot. So yeah, but thank you.
you
But
does that come up in conversation? I was like, God, I gotta get this Christmas tree out. Gotta practice Christmas tree.
pretty much
Come
only in
on,
December, you know. but
everyone's gonna
some,
ask me about this Christmas tree.
but sometimes it comes out Christmas tree, even to
Oh,
this
that's it.
day, and I sound like
Yeah.
a 4-year-old with no front teeth. But but thank you.
But you're
I've
doing
gone to great
great.
lengths to practice my diction. Very kind of you.
So maybe did you ever see a specialist about it or no?
When I was in school, sometimes me and some other kids who had a lisp went down and we like once twice a week we'd go with this counselor who would help us. It wasn't anything profound, but it was
Mhm.
more of a nervous stammer than
Yeah.
anything else. But I was able to overcome it just by practicing and with a little extra effort.
Well, good for you. That is awesome. Always
Thank
have
you.
good to have a happy ending here.
Thank you. Fun fact: Ted Bundy was on the dating game too. That's the second time his name has come up.
Well,
Mister.
earlier we were talking about who was the serial killer, and I said Ted Bundy, and but I think, but you know, he confirmed it. So
I will defer. If both you and Mister Staten say it was Ted Bundy, I will defer. I thought it was a different serial killer, but I will defer to your knowledges.
well, I don't know. I mean, that's just what I remember sitting here, but I could totally be wrong. But he probably has I'm not looking things up as I'm doing this.
No, that's cheating.
Let's see. Well, yeah, big time. As a matter of fact, when I'm on Dave's show, I turn off the chat so I don't see your guys' comments. So I 100% try to make it off of my memory. Totally turn off the chat bar so that because inside StreamYard, you have like you can see live chat or you can see personal chat, and I turn
Mhm.
it to the personal chat so I don't see the live chat. So I don't have a chance. I have to know it totally. Let's see. Um, I don't know what this
Very
means.
worded. Rodney Alcala.
Maybe that's the name of a serial killer or so.
You know what? Maybe that there's a bell ringing in the back of my head.
Yeah,
I think he's right. Maybe because there's a bell ringing. Oh, Superplex. Do you know a Michigan governor was on the dating game? I did
I
not know
did
that.
not. I did
I
not
did
know
not know
that.
that. I did not know that.
And then we got another repeat of that. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Oh,
Was Love Connection considered a game? Yes, it
yeah, heck
was.
yeah. Heck yeah. That was a great game. That was another one I watched too. Two and two,
Two.
right? Two
Chuck
and two.
Woolery. We'll be back with you
Two and
in two and two.
two and two. And then they had he went on the date with the three people, or whoever went on the date with the three people, and then they would tally that up, or they would talk about the date they went on. And if they got the audience choice, then
They could go on
then
another date.
they could go on. Um, well, they would pay for it if the
Yeah.
audience,
Yeah, exactly.
whoever the audience chose, they could pay for. But they chose one. They went on a date. They came back. They talked about the date, and then the audience voted, or they voted before who they should have gone with. And then if it's that person, then they go on a date again. But if it's not that person, then then they could go on the other date with the person the audience did choose, and the studio would pay for it. So that's how that worked. And
And it
I
was always
remember
most fun when the date was a train wreck. And that happened actually more than you'd think.
it did happen. It
It did
was
happen. It was way more fun.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Two and two. And do you
Two and
remember
two.
that the game show craze kind of got eclipsed by the talk show phase?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Talk shows started becoming popular, like Sally Jesse Raphael was on after school instead of
Arsenio Hall and
yeah.
yeah,
Well, Arsenio Hall was late night. That was kind of late night. But
yeah.
remember, like during the day, they started having all these talk shows come on instead of the
Oh, yes. Now that you
the
mention it, yes, I do.
the games. That's Let's see here.
Oh, Trey Myers. John Ritter was on the dating game. Oh, okay. He was in. Yeah, because we were talking about celebrities on the dating game. I didn't
Mm,
remember him, but I certainly believe it.
mm.
Oh, Richard Ramirez. John Collins said.
You know what? I think that as I sorted out, I think Cornflake Club member John Collins is right. I think it might have been Richard Ramirez. He's the Night Stalker,
Yes, he is.
uh, and I think that he was the person who was on. Let's see. Who was on that one show? What show are we
The
talking about?
dating game.
Dating game.
The dating game.
Any other? I think these people are probably talking to each other. Let's see. Oh, you're a Harvard professor, Thrash Pondo Ponds.
Superplex. Wow, TP. I'll come in again. Wow, T Pons or a Harvard professor. He
We're
flipped a
way
coin.
behind. We're
Yeah.
way behind on these things. Let's see.
Travis Myers, Cash Cab, LOL.
Yeah, Cash Cab was great. Cash Cab was not an 80s show. I think that was like a 2000s, wasn't it?
Yes. Lens Schaffen, Scrabble.
Scrabble, I don't know.
The
They had
board game.
these they had these I mean all kinds of games that came out, game shows that came out that you just couldn't keep up with it. You know what I mean? It
Oh,
just
yes. It was,
uh
they sort of like just, oh, Travis
oh,
Myers, Ian, I am good on rock and roll Jeopardy.
I bet
I'm
you
sure
are.
you
I
are.
bet you are. We'll have to play a game sometime when we're on here, if I ever figure this out here. Tracy the Rocker. Let's see if we can get that. Oh my goodness. Oh, talking about bringing back
Oh,
memories.
Brandwood in. Double Dare was good. They started listing off gifts they won. The Nintendo, the basketball hoop, the football, the water park tickets, the Casio. Ba-da-da-da.
Yes, the cat.
Yes, Double Dare.
Oh man, I wanted to be on Double Dare so bad, and yeah, Double Dare was an awesome show. Did you watch it, or were you too old for Double
I
Dare?
was I was too old for Double Dare, but I do
Yeah,
remember it from because like when I worked at the video
Nickelodeon.
store, Nickelodeon, exactly.
Yeah, that was a great game. A great game. I really wanted to be on that show so bad, and get slimed and all that stuff. You know what you were saying about earlier about a lot of celebrities being on those shows. It really is almost like you do that as like a young celebrity in Hollywood. You kind of it's almost like an audition kind of a
Huh,
thing.
I can see that. Well, actually, who was not any of the ones we've mentioned, but oh, the woman she played Rebecca in Cheers.
Oh yeah.
The original Savick in Star Trek.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
did a
yeah.
she did a bunch of game shows early in her
Yeah.
career. In fact, there's
Yeah.
one she doesn't even say that she's an actress. They say, "What do you do?" And she goes, "I'm an interior decorator." So
Mm.
it must have been really early in her career. She wasn't even an actress yet.
Right,
But
right.
yes,
Let's see this one here
Christy Alley.
too.
Christy Alley.
Yeah, Chris
Oh,
Daryl.
Daryl Johnson. Was Fear Factor a game?
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
For sure. What was that? Was that a 90s game or was that a 2000s?
I believe it crossed over. I believe it was late 90s into the 2000s. In fact, remember we were talking about Shannon Doherty not too long ago?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
no. I'm sorry. It wasn't Fear Factor. I was thinking Scare Tactics.
Oh yeah.
But
No.
Fear
Yeah,
Factor was the same time period. But yeah,
yeah.
Shannon Doherty did an incarnation of Scare Tactics.
I did see that. That was kind of a hidden camera show, but scary stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But Fear Factor with Joe Rogan, the king of
Yes.
all podcast people.
I told you when I was in college, he was a stand up comedian at the time. He was doing the college circuit. He actually came to my college and zinged me.
Oh yeah, you did talk about that
Mhm.
before. I totally remember that. Zinged ya, huh?
He zinged me. He zinged Thrash Bondo. Mhm. So let's see.
Well,
Superplex. Betty White favorite game show was Password. Gee, I wonder why.
I don't know what you. I don't get
Oh,
it.
she was married to Ludden, the host of Password.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. We got a few. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Oh yeah.
I never. I think Password is a little bit before my time. You know?
Well, yeah, because I was little when it came out. I was like, I think in first, second grade when Password came out.
Yeah. Yeah. They have some parodies of Password now on. Well, not right now, but on SNL. I don't know if you ever seen those parodies of
Oh,
Password. They're not.
I've seen a number of them, probably the SNL ones. They actually do it on. Speaking of the Odd Couple, we were speaking of the Odd Couple not long ago. They actually go on Password in the Odd Couple once, and
Oh,
Oscar
they
and
do.
Felix. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's very funny.
Mm.
Oh, John Collins. I would do well on Family Feud. My problem would be that I could never press the buzzer fast enough.
Yeah, they'd have to have some type of accommodation, but yeah, Family Feud. I don't know. Sometimes because it's just they just pull the audience with that, and you can never guess sometimes what people are thinking. I mean, some of them are pretty, right on, but other,
Mhm.
pretty easy to anticipate, but others were not so much so.
Yeah,
Let's
sometimes they're
see.
really out of left field.
Uh, oh my goodness,
Oh dear. Daryl Johnston. They need to put some Japanese game shows on. I could see that. I could see that.
those are nutty.
They really
Those are
are.
those are really super nutty. Let's see here. I think I don't know. Did we exhaust the topic here? Well, I
Oh,
can't
I
think of any
sincerely
more.
doubt it. It's like,
I
we're just doing the Gen X game shows. We haven't. Well, actually, we've just started getting into the new. Hey, has anyone watched this Squid Game? By the way, I've
I
heard
have
of it. I've not seen it.
not watched it. Tracy Rothmeyer's What's this?
I am an only. I'll come in again. I am an only child too, Ian.
Yeah, yeah, fun. I was an only child raised mostly by a single mother. That was a lot of fun. What else we have? There's a lot of comments here, but a lot of it's just kind of talking to each other
Back
and
to each
stuff like
other,
that.
which
So,
is great. I love when you guys actually interact with each other. I mean, this is supposed to be a social event, and
oh yeah, for sure.
you
I
can't
just find
socialize
it.
without socialization.
What? What? No, I'm
What?
just kidding.
What?
I'm just kidding.
What?
Can't socialize without
Oh,
socialization.
yes, you can socialize without socialization. I thought you were reading some comment in this section, which was scary or something, and I'm like, what?
I'm just
We,
kidding around. Oh, I
as
saw
am I.
Redbeard.
I'm
I saw
playing along as
Redbeard. I got to get
well. Ooh, red.
Redbeard here.
No whammy, no whammy. Stop. Press your luck was one of my very faves.
Yeah, Pressure Luck was a lot of fun.
How you
People
doing, Redbeard?
know
Yo, yo, yo. What's up? What's up with you, Redbeard?
what's up, brother. Good to have you here. Me and Redbeard, just so you know, are gonna do a little. And then he writes here, Christy Alley. Yep,
Yep,
thank you.
that's what we're. Thank you.
And
Yep.
everybody, right, and Christy, we're finally getting down to the. All right, now we're getting down to the end. Okay. Um, uh, what was I gonna say? I forgot. Oh yeah, Redbeard and I are going to do a video, maybe one on his channel and one on my channel, and we're going to do a music one on which genre of rock is your favorite and why. And
Ooh.
so it'll be kind of an open discussion, like and then what's your second favorite genre of rock or whatever. And a while ago I put out a video. I don't know if you've seen the video or not. It wasn't one of my more popular videos, but I did put it out about why grunge is not a subgenre of metal. And I laid out my arguments, and Redbeard said he wanted me on his show to maybe discuss it. He said that because he wants to argue that it is a
I can see that.
subgenre of metal, and I want to argue that it's not a subgenre of metal, which in fact it is not.
Clash of the
So,
Titans we got going on here.
but we will see. No, I mean, I lay out the case in that video, and basically the idea is they are both rock.
Mhm,
That's true, and because they're both rock, they have similarities. But to say so like you have heavy metal,
mhm,
and a subgenre of metal is like, okay, a subgenre of heavy metal would be new walla and glam metal, and you'd have subgenres under that title of metal. And I don't believe that grunge belongs as a sub what am I saying, a subgenre of
mhm.
metal. It's its own. It's already under another genre. The genre is alternative rock. Alternative
Huh.
rock is a separate genre of rock than metal with its own subgenres. And one of those subgenres, like one of the subgenres of alternative rock, is one of those subgenres of alternative rock is industrial music, and
Okay.
another subgenre of eternal rock of alternative rock is grunge. Now they're both rock. I mean, no
Mhm.
one's denying that. You're going to find crossovers, but yeah, I mean, they don't trace their history through the same. So anyway, I'm giving up uh, my position. Well, that's okay though. I want all my arguments out there on the subject. I do want all my
It's going to
arguments
be a
out
good one. It's going to be a good one because I can tell the two of you will gear up and really throw out some really interesting arguments there.
right.
So,
And then
so
the other thing too is heavy metal is such a broad category that you'll
valid.
always find an exception. You'll always, so anything I could say about grunge, you can find an exception. So when I say this characterizes metal, there's always an exception to that. And this characterizes grunge. There's always going to be an exception to that. Um, um, but yeah, I mean, one of the things that I believe really separates the two
Oh,
is heavy metal in all of its forms is seems to be more performance based, where the song is kind of designed to be a platform for each individual band member to showcase their talents.
I'm with you.
um, where grunge is the opposite. The song's the most important part. The each individual talent goes into the song rather than the song being a platform to show the talents of each individual member. But that's kind of uh, well, let's see. I got some. Well, we gotta go here to a couple of these.
John Collins, hey people, everybody join the Cornflake Club. It's nice and crunchy.
Yes, please do join the Cornflake Club. And that's John Collins, Cornflake Club member. You know what I discovered? I think the reason why the YouTube joining the YouTube thing's so popular is because you get to see, the little S sign and stuff, and it's kind of exciting. And if you're just a Patreon member, people don't see that. And so what I'm going to decide to do is make sure everybody knows in the chat who's a Cornflake Club member. So if you're a Cornflake Club member, or even a tip jar member, if you're a tip jar member, that's okay. I will still shout you out. I will say tip jar member or Cornflake Club member, but that's why I did that. So John Collins, Cornflake Club member, and
Superplex. John Collins. Does it include sugar pops?
no, doesn't include sugar pops. It's just cornflakes. We're gonna get the other later as soon as I can free some more time up here.
Redbeard videos. I used to watch a whole lot of game shows as a kid in the 80s. Card Sharks, The Price is Right, Scrabble, and the aforementioned Press Your Luck were my faves. Good
Yes.
topic, guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. Card Sharks. That was a fun one, wasn't it?
Oh, I loved Card Sharks. Higher, lower, lower, and loved it. Loved Card
Oh,
Sharks.
did you hear? Okay, so there was an episode where the girl on the show and this is Price is Right. It reminded me of Higher and Lower. Sorry, I just got off topic here. This is a true story. Um, the price one of the Price is Right members lost their father to a hiking accident, and the father's name was something like, I don't know, Daryl or something like that. I don't know what it was. It was some name, Daryl or whatever. And Bob Barker, when that little, the guy that climbs,
Yodeling,
you know,
yodeling, yodeling, yee.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
that game where you play where the guy climbs like that.
Yeah. The guy in the Alps, yes.
Yeah, the guy in the Alps, and then he slides back down. Well, Bob Barker said, "Oh, there goes Daryl," and the girl broke down and cried and had to leave. Yes,
Wow.
that's not crazy. Isn't that
I
crazy?
never heard that story. Wow.
He had no idea that her dad died in a climbing accident. He had no idea that her dad's name was Daryl. It wasn't Daryl. I'm just using that as
Use
an.
that as an example, yeah.
But and she was playing that game where that little guy with the hook climbs up as you get the right price, and or if you get the bad price, it slides down. And when it slid off the board, he said, "Goodbye, Daryl." No. All right.
That's crazy.
And
Trey Throws Myers, I am joining the Cornflake Club.
all right, glad to have you, future Cornflake Club member
You rock, Tracy.
Tracy Roth Myers. Thank you. Your support is
Redbeard
appreciated.
videos. I'm coming for your milk on the grunge topic there, retro cereal.
All right, you got to watch the video because I do lay out my case in the video. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, I want to know that I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I don't have any vested interest in it, but we do have to do favorite rock genre and why. So that'll be here pretty soon, maybe in a couple weeks here.
Truth Myers, Milk and Honey, the music group.
I don't know. I think
No,
she's talking about adding it to her
the
cornflakes.
cornflakes, yes, but I like milk. Anyway, Daryl Johnston, LOL, post-punk alternative rock.
Yes, exactly. Post-punk alternative rock. That's my jam, by the way.
Superplex, Redbeard video, but will you drink ENC's milkshake?
That kind of went weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know. I should have read that before I put that one up there.
In a healthy, non-threatening kind of way.
A lot of words. Let's see.
Daryl Johnson, I want to be shredded wheat.
Shredded wheat.
Shredded.
I had to pick the I don't know. It could have easily have been the Shredded Wheat Club, but go over and join the Cornflake Club. I can't do a club for every cereal, that there is. It was supposed to be meant to be like, your basic plain cereal, and the next one above that is like the sugar cereal that everybody really likes. Let's see.
Mr. 79 Man. Hey, Mr. 79 Man. Welcome to the party. Hey,
welcome
Ian
to the party.
C and Thrash.
Yes. Hey, how are you?
And
then
Go ahead. He and I, we've been chatting a lot on. I don't know if you ever do Dave's Archives. Dave's Archives is a nostalgia channel. He does all kinds of retro commercials from the 80s and 90s. And I've been
Yeah.
bumping into Mr. 79 Man there routinely. Good to see you on one of our channels there, Mr. 79. Welcome to the
Right.
party.
Right. Yes. Welcome to the party. There was one here. Oh yeah. Here, I got some stories about
Mr.
this.
79 Man. At Superplex, I know. I'll always remember that he beat up Happy Gilmore. Yes, he
Yes.
did. Yes, he
Did you
did.
know? Did you know? And then, sorry, the one above it just says that, but I'll cut that off. Did you know that Bob Barker is a red belt under Chuck Norris?
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow,
He
that is cool.
last I heard, he didn't ever get his black belt, but he did get. We're red belts in the Chuck Norris's system is the one right before black belt.
Huh.
So yeah, cool. Yeah, that's it. He's apparently pretty good.
Tracy Ross Myers. Hey, at least the drink ain't Kool-Aid. Ooh.
Oh
Ooh.
no, at least the drink ain't Kool-Aid.
Redbeard videos. How about the Quisp Club? You know, it's funny he mentioned that.
How about the
I was going
Quest
to
Club?
suggest that you do discontinued cereals. You know, like
Ah,
Freakies and stuff like that.
all right.
What do you
Hey
think about
everyone,
discontinued?
listen. Hey, I have to go.
Oh,
Unfortunately, because remember we had that problem at the very beginning. My battery is about out, and I didn't
oh.
bring my cable in here, and it's not the same cable as my other computer, so I might be shutting off here soon. I just want to say. Love you all. Please go ahead and take one of my videos and share it on your favorite social media. Let's get me up to 1,000 so I can monetize this thing. So, but unfortunately, yeah, my screen just went dark on my side, so I don't know if you can see it on your side, but
You're doing okay. You're just starting to glitch a
yeah,
lot.
it's going out now.